Hi ladies, welcome to step 2 of our Monet inspired artwork during distance learning. Today we're going to work on the water lilies. So you'll need to find a selection of green textas, green crayons, green watercolour if you have some, but it's up to you. It's really whatever you have at home. If you only have pencils, that's brilliant. If you only have textas, that's brilliant. Don't worry and don't stress. As you can see here, I've got a selection of my daughter's crayons and textas and pencils. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of green watercolour on the water lilies as a first layer. So a little bit of green on each lily pad. And that's going to be the first layer. Okay, that brush was need a slightly bigger brush. There we go, that's better. And they're going to be leaf flowers. Then I'll just let them dry. Looking for a bit of texture, so if you've got a bit of paper towel, that's great, and that means as it goes down and you can take a little bit off, you're going to get a nice textured effect. Then I'm going to come in with some green crayon in the areas that are not wet, and you can see here I'm starting to get a little bit more of the shape of the lily pad. And the watercolour that is dry from our first lesson, it's allowing me to overlap. And I can see on this lily pad, there's a little edge of an orangey red. And if I put in a little bit of orangey red, all of a sudden, it's going to pop out. So they're our complementary colours, our orange and our blue. And we did that last term. So think about your complementary colour pairs, your red and green, your blue and orange. And you can add some little touches of red and orange, and that's going to really wake up your artwork through contrasting colours. And this one here, I can see a little bit of a wiggly line. There we go, and down here I can see a bit of pink. All of a sudden, when I use orange and red and pink, my artwork is waking up. There's these little flashes of colour that are looking really lovely. Even here on the flower, I can see that there's some pink down on this petal. And I'm going to suggest the flower petals just with a couple of lines. So I'm not drawing a realistic flower. I'm just looking at the colours Monet was using and being inspired by those. Is there any pink anywhere else? Maybe a little bit more along here. That's looking really nice. Then I might come back in with my green and continue on with my lily pads. Let's double check that this is all recording. Good. That would be a disaster. Now I probably need to let this lily pad dry a little bit more before it will let me to overlap with the watercolour. So that can be in our step 3. We'll return and do another layer on top. I just think every mark is just for now. Building up the greens of the lily pad. And this lily pad seems to have quite a bit of mauve in there, a bit of purple. So it's not just green. And down to this one. And this lily pad actually has hardly any green at all. It's quite purpley, so it must have quite a lot of water sitting on the top. And then this lily pad is actually has a lot of dark green, so I'm going to swap over to the darker green. And even in here there's some deep dark blue. My darker green. Some up here. I'll let my hand hop around wherever I see dark green now. So just like a little frog going on the lily pads, hopping over all the lily pads, I'm going to hop. Is there green on that one? Yes, there's a little bit. Some dark green there. And then hop like a frog down here. And then hop like a frog over here. And this one has some little spotty marks. So slowly building up those lovely greens. Really liking this one with that lovely shape there. Maybe I'll come and try and do that on a few more. So coming in with that. So today we are building up the greens of the lily pads. What other colours can you see in your artwork of inspiration? This one has some dark blue, so I might switch back to a dark blue and put some little pockets of dark blue on that lily pad. Then you might want to see if you can layer in some texture as well. Ooh, that looks nice, doesn't it? That really is popping out. I'm going to do that on all of them. Bit of the mauvey purple on the edges of the lily pads. And our next step will return to the flowers and start to build those up a little bit more. We'll just focus on the lily pads today. And maybe I'll get my pond green texture. There we go, that's a nice pondy, muddy green, isn't it? Some little touches. It's too wet for the pencil, so I'll come back to that and just keep on building up the greens. And I think that's probably enough for step 2. See you next lesson, girls.